Hello friends, welcome back. It's been a while since I did a full tour of my garden. So today I want to show you what's going on in the garden and what has been doing really well and what didn't work out this summer. It is almost time to plant your fall vegetable garden, so that's what I'm thinking about right now. I have been clearing out the garden and I'm getting ready to plant my fall vegetables. So if you want to learn what to plant in Zone 7A for the fall, make sure that you stay tuned for my next video. The front lawn garden is doing quite alright. It produced a ton of tomatoes, a ton of okra, and right now I'm starting to clean it out and putting in a little bit of space so that I can put in some broccolis, some spinach, and maybe a few lettuces as well. Yesterday I dug out all of the weeds that were in here. I had a ton of flowers growing at the front. The sunflowers were done producing, so I removed most of them, but here I still have a few. The zinnias are still going strong this year. Not a lot of them sprouted, but the few that did, they did very well this year. And apparently today is helicopter day because there's a lot of helicopters flying by. Check out this beautiful marigolds. I saved seeds from some that I had last year, and these are just doing quite well. I have a few dahlias here that they started from seed, and it took forever for them to grow, but now they're here, and these are beautiful. This right here is Jamaican hibiscus, and this produces a little calyx, little flower here. You eat that, and it makes a really delicious tea. We have a perfect example of it right over here. Look at how big this one is right here. And this is really hard to grow in Zone 7A. This is my third time trying it out, and I think I'm gonna get just a few of them to mature. I want to keep saving seeds from it because the more I do it, the more it gets acclimatized. At least that's the hope. So I want to save seeds from those, and then you can make tea. Check out the beautiful garden at the front. Marigolds are doing so well this year. My path here is covered in these beautiful marigolds, and I use them as attraction for the pollinators, but also for beauty. I don't think they smell really good. The smell doesn't matter though. They look great. Check out how many pollinators are here. Oh, that's just the regular housefly. Is it pollinating? Here I grew a ton of tomatoes. It was the Cherokee Purple, my favorite tomato, and they did very well. And right now I have full production of okra. Check out these beautiful flowers from the okras. And I have a ton of okras, and I have to harvest every other day because otherwise they get humongous and edible at that point. But I have a ton of okra growing at this moment. Here I'm utilizing this tarp because this was a weedy mess this year, so I'm using this tarp to solarize this area. I think I'm gonna end up putting some grass back over here. I used to have a bed over there at some point, but this area has a lot of vine weed and it has been impossible to eradicate. So if I just put some grass in here for now, maybe the grass will suffocate the vine weed. Then in a few years, when I have a bit more time on my hands, I'll recover this and probably put in a few perennial vegetables of sorts in this area. I have one sad looking pomegranate that is producing right now. I think it's gonna die. It's drying out, but I got one to get pollinated, and that one's doing very happily here. And I'm hopeful that this upcoming year, this little pomegranate tree gives me more pomegranates. I also have my selection of tropical fruits here. I have those in pots because they cannot be in the ground. But very soon I'm going to be done building my greenhouse, and I'm going to put those in there this year in the ground. My hope is to heat it up a little bit, and hopefully it will stay just above freezing, which a lot of these plants can handle, and hopefully they will produce more fruits. These are Meyer lemons that I have here. These are in a 5-gallon pot, if I'm not mistaken, and I have like 6 or so lemons this year. If you live in Northern Virginia and you want to purchase some trees from me, I have some trees for sale that I need to get rid of before the winter months. I have some Celeste figs. I have some soursop that I started from seed as well. And I have a ton of houseplants that if you want to get into, I can also sell to you. I have about 10 fig trees, so if you want one of those, let me know. I'll sell them for about 20 bucks, and they are from the ones that I have in the back. This is my beautiful house collection, and I have all sorts of different crazy things in here. And I have this Florida avocado that I started from a seed recently, and I have a mangrove that I got when I went to Florida, and then I have a few cuttings from trees that my friends have. This crazy monster is a dragon fruit, and it's growing on a small pot. And check this out, it has started growing on my wall. I'm gonna have to rip it off of here, but it has grown all of this year. Isn't that wild? That's crazy. So sad that I have to take it out of here very soon, because if I let it stay here, it will be killed by a first frost. The side yard has done very well this year. I collected so many grapes and so many blackberries from here. And this is a weedy mess, but as soon as the first frost come, this is gonna get all cleaned out and it's gonna be good. I have some understory from some fig trees that I have here. So in the future, I'm gonna start cleaning out the vines and letting the trees grow. And there is some pawpaw trees underneath here as well. So in the future, these will be fruit trees, and then you won't really be able to see too much of the grapevines or the blackberry vines. I have so many passion fruit flowers. This is the native passion fruit. Check out the beautiful blossoms on this. Just because something is native doesn't mean that it won't take over your yard. This passion fruit has been terrible. It has been taking up a lot of my yard, and I've been digging it out, and you cannot kill it. So be careful with this one right here. It is a native to Northern Virginia, but it is quite aggressive. This area here is planted with a bunch of different things. I had basil that was coming out of my ears. I had so much basil out of here. And I also have a volunteer Cherokee purple tomato, and it has produced like 10 of those tomatoes, huge ones too, which has been great. I've also planted some red beans in here and let them then dry on the pods so I can eat them in the winter months. Planted in between, I have a ton of peppers, and very soon I'm gonna have to get in there and figure out what's in here. But check out how many peppers. A lovely amount of peppers. This whole bed right here is planted with Japanese eggplants, and check out these beautiful eggplants. I have been harvesting so many eggplants and I cannot keep up with them, so my friends have been getting a ton of these. I still have some grapes here. These are Concord grapes, and they are super delicious. They are a little seedy, but you can pop them right in or you can spit them out. The elderberry bush, I had to cut it back a little bit because it was blocking the sun from these right here, so I had to clean it out a little bit. I also have these beautiful Korean peppers. These are beautiful Korean peppers. They are mild spicy pepper, probably just as spicy as a jalapeno, but I love spicy food, so I don't really mind them. I have more eggplants here. I have this one called Black Ruby, I believe this one's called, and this one, they're just so beautiful. There's more green beans planted in between here, and right now the eggplants are just getting going. They're coming out fast. This pawpaw tree grew maybe 5 foot, maybe more this year. It's crazy how much it's grown in just one season. It is about 7 years old, so I'm hopeful that in a few years it will start producing some flowers. And check out this wall I have here. The green wall, and right now it's producing a ton of yard-long green beans. I come here every day and I harvest like 10 of these, and that's about a half a pound because they are very long and nice and heavy. In between all of these, I have this air potato, and this produces a tuber that is edible, and it has a starchy tuber, but you can also eat these little things like potatoes, and they taste really delicious. So I need to come in and harvest a few of these before they start falling, like that one. This is my pride and joy of this year. I have beautiful taro growing here, and right behind it I have ginger growing. I'm not sure if the ginger is going to produce much of an edible root because it is getting shaded out by these humongous leaves of taro. This taro is taller than me. So it's got to be close to 6 foot tall. Isn't that crazy? It's amazing how much it's grown. Last year I grew it over there next to the bananas and it got shaded out. I'll show you one that I have over there that I overwinter from 2022. In this bed I had some corn growing. I already finished harvesting all that corn, but I have some green beans growing in between there, so I'm letting them grow a little bit more. Check out these beautiful Pekino peppers, yellow drop peppers. These are beautiful. I still haven't eaten one of these yet, and I'm afraid of trying it because they look like they're gonna be mean. And check out those in the back. Those are the same type of peppers. I saved the seeds from a plant that I saw out in the streets last year, and that one, it's a mutant. It's a little different than these ones, but that's really cool still. It looks like eventually they're going to turn red if I don't pick them, but they remain yellow like this, and the final stage is of red, just like this one. That's just so nice. I want to show you my tropical zen area that I envisioned and here it is. Not quite complete because the plants that I was planning to go over this did not grow as well as I planned. But look at my banana plants and look at my canna lilies that I started all from seed, my friends. Right now I have tons and tons of canna lilies growing here. These are not edible. As far as I know, they're not edible. There are some canna lilies that are edible, but when I purchased these, I don't know the variety, so I'm not gonna go in and eat them because I don't want to kill myself. But check out the bananas here, and I'm gonna show you around this way. I have more canna lilies right here. This is also part of my crazy area. Right here I have a dwarf Cavendish banana growing in the ground. I'm going to dig this out and put it in my greenhouse. And I also have some sugarcane growing, and I already see a few stems right here. These sections right here are definitely going to be edible, and this is going to be delicious. I'm going to have sugarcane grown in Virginia. How crazy is that? This one right here is a dwarf Orinoco banana, and I also need to dig this out, and this is going to go into my very new project that I have going. This is the new place where I'm going to be playing in the winter months. This is a polycarbonate greenhouse and is 6 millimeters thick and is double insulated. So I'm hopeful that it will keep some of the heat inside here. And I'm going to be growing rare tropical fruits in here. My plan is to plant some fruit trees in here that can handle a little bit of frost. So some of those citruses that are hardy, like yuzu, I'm going to extend their growing season in here just a little bit in the fall and into the late winter. And hopefully I can grow a Meyer lemon in here. I've seen a lot of people growing Meyer lemons in greenhouses like this. And last year we had only one day that we got to 7 degrees. So if we have that again next year, what I can do is I will have a heater in here that is automatically on standby, and it can kick on whenever we get down to about 34 degrees. And I want to keep it just around 34, 35 degrees. And hopefully the plants that I plant in here will survive the winter months, and they will be able to grow just very happily during the other months of the year. I bought this greenhouse on Amazon and it was not cheap. I had been watching it for a few months and it was about $1,000. And I saw a sale when it went on sale for about $800, and I pulled the trigger on it, and here it is. So I'm not being sponsored by them, but if you want to know more about it, I'll leave the link in the description below, and if you want to buy it, then you buy it. But I'm not making any recommendations just yet because I just bought it. But in the future, once I have worked on it for a few months, then I can give you an honest review, and then I can give you a recommendation or not. I also have my tropical paradise in the back orchard, and I told you I wanted to grow a little trellis here with some plants, and check out how beautiful these plants are. This is a chayote right here, but it is being quite stubborn. It hasn't produced any flowers, and I'm concerned because if it doesn't produce any flowers right now, I don't think there will be any time left in the season for it to mature any chayotes. So I know it's possible because I had an Indian friend who was growing these in her garden, and she would get chayotes all the time, but I haven't seen any flowers. But at some point, I think what I want to do is dig out the plant, because you can certainly do that. Dig out the plant, put it over there, overwinter it inside the greenhouse, and then bring it back out in the spring. And check out this beautiful, this is a volunteer plant. Every year I get one of these plants to volunteer, and it's just a decorative little gourd like this. We use them as decorations around the house for the fall, and then we just compost them. You can also eat the young ones, because I've eaten them before, but you have to get them before they get a little too hard. In this section here, I have my massive Musa Baju. This is the hardy banana, and they are growing so tall this year. Last year I did a very nice job of protecting the trunks, and they remained alive. So they started growing from just about there. They were about 3 foot tall in the spring. I took out all the insulation out, and then they started growing. And check out how tall they are right now. I don't know, man, these things gotta be like 16 foot tall. It is ridiculous, and it's so beautiful. My persimmon tree dropped all of the persimmons. It was probably stress, so I didn't have to do anything, but it dropped them all. That's okay. Next year, hopefully I'll get to try them. My nectarine tree got an infestation of some sort of mold. Everything molded, and all of them dropped, and I didn't get a single nectarine. I lost all the nectarines, and you can still see right here a little bit of the mold. So my friend told me that I need to spray it with a little bit of clay, and I'm gonna look into that. So I got to do it next year. This little tree right here, I started from a seed. This is a peach tree, and it is just as tall as the one that I bought from a nursery. That thing is only about, if I had to guess, about 15 months old. Isn't that crazy? From seed. It is insane how fast that grew. This right here is my area of tomatoes. I grew so many tomatoes this year, and I have put away in the frozen a ton of tomatoes. So very soon I'm gonna come in here and dig them out. I also have some yard-long beans in here. They're volunteers. I need to come and take a few, harvest them. In here I have my apple tree, and my apple tree produced about 6 apples, and they were quite delicious. This is a Gala, so perhaps not the best selection on my part, because it's not like a super tasty apple, but still it did well. I had a net over it for the entire year, so that created a little bit of an issue here. A lot of the leaves got a little bit curly like this, but I think they're gonna recover because I took the same steps with the nectarine, and it did work with the nectarine. And after a while, the branches become nice and straight again, and I'm hopeful that it's gonna work out. A mistake I have made this year is not harvesting enough on time. So I had a lot of potatoes that went rotten in the ground because I waited too long to harvest them. And here is my good but oldie but trusty greenhouse. This one, I did not take the plastic off this year, so hopefully it's holding out okay. It is UV rated, so it's not getting pummeled by the sun, which is great. So that's good, but I need to come in here. I need to clear out all of this in here, and I need to start planting my fall crops, because the fall is here, my friends, and we need to start planning for the cold months. Check out the size of this green bean right here. This green bean right here. Okay, so here's my hand. I can't do it, but I'm gonna pull it up and check this out. This is a yard-long green bean, and it grows about a yard long, maybe a little longer sometime, and it is quite heavy. This one's probably a little pithy already, because if you don't harvest them too young, they become a little pithy, but this one is still pretty good. They are not the best for saving for dry beans, but I found that if you just take this and you dice them up into little chunks, you blanch it, you can freeze it, it tastes just like a regular green bean. People wouldn't know the difference between a regular French green bean and this green bean right here. And they're super delicious, and everybody at my household seems to like them, so it's a win. I had to chop down this mulberry tree a little bit because it was shading my greenhouse, and right now the winter is coming and I need to make more sunlight for it, so I had to clear it out. The entire yard is a big old jungle mess this year. I have been away for about 2 months, in and out of the country. I have been visiting El Salvador quite a bit, and I just did a lot more traveling than I was expecting. I wasn't expecting to travel as much this year, but the conditions were right to get on a plane and travel. So the time to travel is today. The time to visit family is right. So I went and visited family, and I had a great time down in El Salvador. I have a video that I'm gonna put up soon where I planted some trees in El Salvador in my property. I planted some fig trees, some mulberry trees, a mango tree, and a papaya tree. And whenever I go back, I'd like to make a video of those for you guys so you can see what's happening there. I have a little piece of land that I'm hoping to build a small little house on, and I want to split my time between there and here. So hopefully you guys support this channel by liking it and sharing it with other people, and maybe I can make that dream a reality. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you on the next one.